Hi there, Mark Chabin here, Medical Director of the Haywood County Health Department. Let's talk about this pandemic. It's time again for the weekly update, and the summary is that the trend of lower and lower numbers continues in the United States. Not so for many other places in the world who have not had as robust a vaccination distribution effort as we have. But inside those low numbers, even for us, hide some concerning things. So stay tuned to the next couple of days for another installment of Why Even Consider Vaccination, when we'll dig into exactly what the Delta variant may mean for us. So please share this with someone you care about. Across the U.S., again, no states in the red, several weeks now like that. There are 5 in the orange, though, 3 actually in the green. Florida has the highest rate in the country, but at only 13.5, it's not super high. Vermont continues with the lowest at 0.8. But inside these low numbers is the experience in those counties in Missouri that have low vaccination rates, less than 30%. And the Delta variant, responsible for the devastating effects of the pandemic in India, is playing a huge role there. All right, for our neighbors, each remains at a low rate, but each also has a low vaccination rate. So we'll see what happens there. For now, though, Georgia is steady, South Carolina down a bit more, and after their big spike a couple of weeks ago, note that lots of green in Tennessee. North Carolina, daily cases and deaths were unchanged this past week, and it remains that around 10 North Carolinians are dying each day from COVID, and that's been the same for the past few weeks. North Carolina is unchanged from last week at 3.4 new cases per 100,000 population on a rolling average, and only one county is in the red, and it remains here in western North Carolina. And for western North Carolina, Clay, only county in the state in red, this week further up in the red, doubling their already high number of cases since last week. There are 3 counties in the green at week's end. Henderson with a significant drop this week to fall back into green status. Madison remains in green status, and now Haywood has joined them too. Transylvania was in green briefly midweek when this map was done, but it crept back up just into the yellow by week's end. And of those in the yellow, only Macon showed an increase this week. For Haywood County, total for the pandemic is 4,497, and only 3 people reported with positive test results that were new in the last week, and only 7 in the last 14 days, putting us in the green status, and at levels we saw only in April of 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. No new deaths reported this week, and Haywood Regional Medical Center had between 0 and 2 COVID-related admissions over the past week. As far as testing, you can see that Jackson and Macon with only slight increases, Haywood the biggest decrease, but for everyone reporting well below the important threshold of 5%, including the state. For Haywood County, this is exactly what we have been aiming for a long time, and in fact well below the goal of 2 to 3 average new daily cases and less than 20 total new cases per week. But is the low test positivity and the low number of new cases real? Or is it because people are getting sick but just not getting tested? You know, in a low prevalence environment like we have now, it's easy to be complacent because the chance of actually coming into contact with someone who is infected is so low. In essence, you cannot be careful at all and probably get away with it. But that didn't work so well in Missouri, where the Delta variant has had free reign with such a low vaccination rate. And for us, any complacency will bite us in the butt, because by the time the increase shows up, we are already 1 to 2 weeks into the upswing and behind the ball. So there is a way to stay ahead of this, though. It's called isolation and contact tracing. But the fact is, so many of those, even in Haywood County, who have tested positive, are not willing to share with the health department. And that's a recipe for this virus to get away from us again. People who get sick may be isolating and notifying those around them to quarantine. We hope so, but right now, we just don't know if either is actually going on. For Haywood County and some other western North Carolinas, the vaccination rate above 50% puts us in a better position than some places, like those hit so hard in Missouri. A better position, certainly, but by no means a fully protected position. One way or the other, each of us can do our part. If you can't be vaccinated or choose not to be, then choose to practice good public health protective measures. For now, let's take the numbers we have at face value and celebrate where we are. Let's just not fake ourselves out that this is over. It's just manageable for now. And won't that be great if it stays this way? So be well and be careful, and let's keep it going, especially right now.